Hi, Jen. How is it being back from Vegas?
I jumped right back in. I didn't take any break. I did have a nice break in Vegas, so I slept in, I went to the spa, but then I came back running. I hit the ground running. So,
Yeah, that was actually probably, it's so weird. I felt so like drained when I got there, and I'm in Miami, so it's like a 3 hour difference. And
yeah,
I didn't get used to it for like the first couple days I was there.
me too. I actually thought I was sick like the first 2 days because I was so tired. But then I realized that it was just the jet lag. Like it wasn't me being sick. It was just the jet lag that I was struggling with. So, but then of course I actually think it was easier getting back on Eastern time than it was switching to Pacific.
Really?
Because I left so early in the morning.
Yeah, we had the like midnight flight,
That was
and
a terrible flight. Yeah.
I got back and I'm pretty sure I literally felt like I had just been drugged and I needed to sleep because that did not count as sleep. Whatever was on the plane, and I flew Frontier, so I made it 10 times worse.
You know how I feel about Frontier.
I thought I was saving money, but then I like got up to the checkout counter to get my ticket, and they basically were like, "Hey, here's an extra $100 to take a carry-on on." I'm like, "What?"
Oh no.
So it was like an extra $100 both ways for one check-in and one carry-on. So all in all, I should just flown American. Now I learned my lesson.
Yeah, well, because Sandra had it bag too, right? So you had to pay for hers.
She had a carry-on or she had a check-in and I had a carry-on. So yeah, it was about $100 average both ways on top of the ticket.
So next time you can just go like American and be a little safer.
Yeah, probably. So you just got back, and it's always a little bit crazy, right? Because I think the photography industry, I guess, assumes that January and February is supposed to be super slow. So
Yeah.
like WPPI is now,
Yeah.
imaging is right now.
Yeah.
But you were just messaging me that you came back to a really good half of a week, right?
Yeah. I mean, I had 4 ordering appointments in the last 2 days, and then I had a client pay her payment plan off because she got her tax refund, and that was $3,500. And then I had another 17,000 in ordering appointments in 2 days, all paid in full, by the way, which is amazing.
That is pretty good. That basically recovers all of your Las Vegas gambling losses.
All $250 of it. Yeah.
No, by the way, you didn't lose 250. You made 250.
I made, but then I went back the next night and I lost 200.
Did you really?
So I'm actually leaving Vegas up by like $60.
It's so funny because like you basically didn't even know how to play
I didn't know
blackjack,
how to play blackjack. No,
and you were beating everybody at the table.
I was. But you know what? Then the last night I was there, I sat beside, you would have loved them, by the way, Greg and Sharon, whose daughter, they were there with their daughter who had the lead in this new HBO show. Yeah, called Vegas High or something like that. And they're filming it right now in Vegas. And so they were there for like a week while she's filming. And Greg is like this blackjack shark. And so he basically, like, I kept losing, but I didn't care because I was learning so much from him. So I was like, this is basically like a $200 blackjack, like private lesson right now. So I'm just going to keep on going. It was great. I learned so much.
It's funny because I was sitting at a table and I think Sandra was like, "Oh, we lost $100," and the dealer was like, "Oh, you don't lose unless you leave the table." So like encourages you to like stay and keep trying to win. Pretty sure I lost a few $100s, but it was pretty fun.
It was really fun. I had so much fun. And whenever we were playing at the same table, that table was really fun too. You know? And what was funny, so I got back on Wednesday night. And there's Dover Downs, which is like 20 minutes away from me. It's a casino. It's not anything like Vegas. But I was telling my husband about how much I learned playing blackjack. And he's like, let's go see how much you learned. So we got a sitter. And of course, I was dead tired because I'd been up since 3 a.m. Pacific time, right?
You just went back to the casino?
On Wednesday night when we got back.
Are you addicted?
Well, I only spent $100 again. I think you have to spend more than like, $100 if you're addicted. But so like I showed him everything I learned. He was so impressed. I lost, but he was really impressed.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of those games where somebody made the joke that like, hey, they trick beginners into thinking that they're really good by letting them win the first time.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of you. And then every time after that, you just keep losing. But like you just hang on to the first time and you're like, well, at least the first time I made something.
I'd hope. Whenever I go to a casino, it's always with the intent of having fun. It's never with the intent of like planning on making money. So I'm never upset if I lose because I'm always like, I had a lot of fun playing. And, it's like going out to dinner, or like a movie or something. You're spending the same amount of money. And if you go slowly with it, you can make the fun last a little bit more. So
I get really impatient. I'm like a couple $10 in and I'm like, wow, let me just double down. And then I'm just like, slide that in.
I know. And then you lose and then you're done.
Yeah.
That's all right though. It was fun. It was really fun. I had such a good time. I had a great time in Vegas.
By the way, we stayed at the Palms place, which is like a little bit off of the strip, but was pretty cool.
Beautiful.
That might have been good and bad because I will say the good thing about it was like when we came down from our tower, was it Palms Palace or whatever?
Yeah.
Like when you come down from the tower, you're not like just mobbed by like people in Hawaiian shirts gambling and cigarettes, you're like in a nice lobby. It's quiet. Right. You can walk outside and it's not like Vegas. It's still Vegas.
Right.
But I will say that's the one benefit is like you did have to walk through like the little sky tunnel and there was like a little bit of separation. That was also like the downfall was like if you wanted to go shopping, if you wanted to go to like Hermes and all the other stores, you had to like jump in an Uber, which is probably good for me because I went with Sandra.
Yeah.
And I got to keep her away from there.
I like being off the strip, but I also like quiet and peace. The strip is a little bit too much for me. I get a little overwhelmed with all the peopling. So I don't mind staying off. And also I really love shooting at the Palms place. So, and it's great because I stay at the same place every year. So then I almost have like, I have a portfolio in the second location across the country. So when I book at that place, like I already have an existing portfolio, which is great. And also I don't have to figure out my shooting flow,
Yeah, I feel like that's like a Seinfeldism in the sense that like they make a joke where it's like, should you go to the restaurant that's new and you don't know and it's unexpected and it could be better, but it could be worse? Or do you go to the restaurant that is consistently good, what you're going to get, and it's no risk? So I feel like it's kind of like that. Like, what if it was another hotel where like if you walked in, you would be like, wow, this is 10 times better, but it could possibly be worse.
But it could be worse. And then I'd be stuck there with clients and not know. I did think about, there was another one that I really thought about. Oh, I forget the name of it, but it has like suites too. It starts with a V.
The Venetian?
Vidara?
Oh, that's like right next to the Aria, I think.
Yeah, I thought about that one like pretty hard. But then I just came back to the fact that like, if I was going to have clients there, like I already know where all the light is. I know like where I'm going to find my sets without having to like bring a bunch of stuff with me. So I ended up just, going for the same thing again. I'm glad I did though. That shoot went really well.
Yeah, I will say the one place I would probably like warn people against, although maybe some people love it, is the Mandalay Bay, only because it's like a gold tower and then it's almost like the light gets filtered through greenish or you think it'd be gold, but it's almost like it's like the opposite of gold, which is like a weird green. That's probably the one place I would avoid.
Where was, who were we talking to that said the windows had like,
was that Chiati?
Yeah. Where was he staying at? He said that there was almost like a vinyl covering on the windows with like little
dots. Yeah.
I forget where he said he stayed, but he ran into the same thing. And at the Palms place, there's like a blue tint to the windows. So you just have to be aware of that, like when you're shooting, because it kind of messes with your white balance a little bit. But as long as you're aware. It really
I would imagine for someone that like shoots like really dark and moody or like black and white fine. Or like it's fine because like the presets sometimes have that tinge. But if you don't, I was asking you, I was like, hey, do you have a color checker passport? Because
I do, and it's right beside me, right here.
Well, hold on, those are great. Those are great cards, but there's like like a color checker where like it has like a row of 24 different colors.
Oh, I don't have that.
Yeah, and you take a picture of it, and what it does is it obviously has like white, grays, and blacks. But then it has all the pure colors, the primary colors and shades between. So what it does is you like, before you put your photos into Lightroom, you basically create a color profile and you take a picture of this thing and you run this file through it. And basically what it does is it tries to recover the colors that you took on that little color checker.
Really?
And it corrects it. So it's not going to be perfect. So if you're shooting through like crazy green light, but it's really, really good. It almost like perfects your white balance. And the thing is it also like corrects the relationship between colors and basically like the color accuracy.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And obviously like your colors are really consistent there because you shoot a lot of window light and your flash, but you know, if you're traveling, or I've heard of Vegas photographers that consistently shoot in like different areas.
Yeah.
From like hotel to hotel. They don't really have a studio.
Right.
Well, that's probably pretty super useful.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to have to look into that. That sounds pretty fun.
Yeah. So we were in Vegas during like WPPI, which I have this weird condition where I keep thinking I'm going to WPPI, but I'm not, because I never actually go. I just go to meet everyone beforehand and hang out.
I didn't go to WPPI either. I wasn't actually there. I was there in spirit.
Yeah. And I think the convention started like Monday or something, which is like coincidentally the day we left. So we've been getting there a couple days early. I know it's pretty I don't know, in like the Boudoir community, it's pretty popular to show up and like hang out with Dumore. I think AIBP was there as well.
Yeah.
We were there and we had like 2 massive get-togethers. Yeah,
they were so fun. The meet and greet went really well. I'm so glad so many people came. I was a little nervous. Like, you know, when you throw a party and you're like, oh, is anyone going to come? I don't know. But if people came, I was so happy.
Yeah. By the way, Kiati just reminded me, he was staying at the Luxor, and yes, it had a vinyl wrap on the outside.
By the way, he killed my shoot. So Kiati shot me and he killed it. They're really good. Yeah.
I know. I asked you for pictures and you were like, I'm naked on all of them. I was like, what? What do you mean you're naked?
I was naked a good bit. Yeah, but they're really good. They're good. He did a great job.
He's extremely talented.
He killed them. Yeah, he killed them. Well, they're going to be on the internet. He has a model release, so everyone's going to be seeing me, which I don't care. I'm a boudoir photographer, so walk the walk, right?
Yeah, it was really cool. We met Kiati. We hung out with a bunch of people from the mastermind. It's weird because like when you're in this online community, online world where like we're entrepreneurs, but like we're all in different cities, and like it's hard to, you know, maybe find a clique, or, you know, we don't have coworkers and stuff.
Right.
You feel like you know people just because you know they're like online personalities, but it's like another thing to like go to these conferences or pre-conferences like we do.
Yeah.
And like hang out and talk, and yeah, Vegas is definitely a cool place to do that.
Yeah, we had a great time. And then our mastermind dinner was fun.
Yeah. So just for the record, this place called like Al Capone.
Capos. It was Capos. It was fun. It was.
Hold on. Let me just paint the picture. Super dark. Each menu comes with a flashlight. There's a rat traps outside.
Stop.
There's a magician.
There was a magician. It was great.
Like this place is the most Vegas you could ever make a place.
It was perfect. And the meatballs were amazing.
The meatballs were pretty good.
They were pretty good. And I had raviolis and they were pretty good too. I wish I would have had like 2 more days there so I could have eaten my leftovers for a few more days, because it was so much food. But the magician was good, right?
Yeah, he was actually really good. He did the coin trick with me. There was some that kind of blew my mind. The one where like he had like the lemons come out of a cup. I don't know how they fit in there, but
I don't know how he did that. Have you tried to look up? So when this was happening, I could see you trying to think through things. And I was like, I wonder if Humberto's going to go and try and look up. Did you figure out how to do these tricks?
I figured that the one where he asked me to write on a coin and then he bent it with his mind or whatever. Whenever I got the coin back, I looked at them and I realized his coin was, while it was maybe a real coin at one point, it was definitely like altered because like the ridges were different. So I was like, okay, he basically switched out the coin and then he like pushed it out a little bit. So I kind of got that one, the sleight of hand on that one, but I couldn't figure out the lemon one. But some things are left to not look up.
I know. I was actually really impressed with his initial card trick. Whenever someone wrote their name on the card and then he kept like pulling it out. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, a very Vegas place that we went and ate at because Jen.
You can pick the next one. You can pick the next one.
Yeah, deal. I definitely get to pick the next one.
Yeah, I was holding firm to Capo's this time. I was like, I really want to go because I mean, I'm super Italian, and you know, my grandfathers would have loved that, and it was very Italian, and so I really liked it. Well, you can pick next time.
I definitely will.
We'll be all fancy next time.
So we went to Vegas. We hung out with a ton of really cool people, which, by the way, I'm not making this public outside of the group or to like anyone else, but I went there technically single and I left there married.
And I was the flower girl.
Yeah, and it was really cool because like at the end of the happy hour or our meet and greet at the Chandelier, which by the way, the Cosmopolitan is an amazing hotel.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
I basically recruited everyone that was there against their will and was like, "You're coming with us to a Vegas wedding."
Did you see that Joy took pictures? Like, so she went on the opposite side and took pictures of all of us taking pictures of you. Did you see that?
Yeah, I had 10 wedding photographers basically.
It was a really good time, and Elvis did a really good job.
It was a really good Elvis. I didn't know what I was getting for $150 bucks.
Great.
But actually I think it was like 160. And I booked it like last minute. I booked it like 5 hours before. He was like, "Oh, 10 o'clock on a Sunday night? Perfect timing." That's very random, but okay.
That was great. He did such a good job.
I feel like in Vegas, 10 o'clock is like 2 p.m. in other places.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't wrap my head around that because you walk outside at like 10 in the morning and it's like a ghost town. And then at 10 at night, it's like hustle and bustle.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I had a hard time with that because I go to bed at like 9. So I was struggling. The first night I was in Vegas, I went to bed at like 7 because I was still on Eastern time. I'd been up so early. But yeah, it was a great wedding. It was like 2.5 minutes and it was perfect. He did a great job.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I didn't think I'd ever get married in jeans and suede jacket, but hey.
First time for everything.
Yeah. So we still have to do a real wedding here in Florida, which we were planning on doing anyways in the spring, but we thought, hey, we have to do this legally anyways, and why not just do it in Vegas?
And for the people that are listening and don't know, Sandra is your wife. We were talking about her earlier. Isn't it cool to say wife, by the way?
Yeah, there's a stand-up where it's like, you know, when you go to the airport and you're like, "Hey, my girlfriend, can I sit with my girlfriend?" People like don't respect you, you know?
Yeah.
But if you're like, "That's my wife," and I feel like now I'm legit, like I'm a grown-up now. Like before it was like, yeah.
Well, I already changed her name in my phone to Garcia. I asked her, I was like, "Are you going to change your name?" She's like, "Well, I don't know. I didn't know if I was going to I didn't know I was getting married today." And so, but anyway, I already changed her name in my phone. So
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think so. Like normally, you know, when people go on vacation and you're just like waiting to get home, Vegas is one of those places where like I was just so drained from the nightlife that like it's like 3 days. I was like, I can't wait to go home.
Yeah. I wish I could say I was drained from the nightlife, but I went to bed around 10 every night, so I really wasn't.
Yeah, some of the photographers we were hanging out with, like, they go hard. Like, they were sending, after the wedding, I mean, it was our wedding night, and we went to bed at, like, 1. They were sending me pictures of, like, post really cool clubs and, like, them eating dinner basically at 6 in the morning. I was like, well, that would have been me 10 years ago, but a little bit too old now.
I'm too old for that. I can't do it. 3 kids in, I can't stay up like that anymore. I mean, I don't know if I ever stayed up like that, but I mean, I used to stay up later than 10, but I was tired by the end of the day. And
so I know we started on this, and this is actually really cool because you were gone for like an entire week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You got there, I think you left Wednesday. You got there like on Thursday or Friday?
I got there Friday morning, the 21st, and then I came back on the 26th, Wednesday, late in the day.
Yeah. So I know we actually just wrote a blog on this, but like you don't do same day sales. So you had those shoots scheduled and then you came back and you had the order appointments. How many order appointments did you have today?
I had 3 today.
How long, by the way, how long did they take you? Because I feel like some people, like somebody messaged me the other day and they were like, oh my God, I had this amazing sale, but it took me 3 hours. And I was like,
No, an hour and a half and I'm
hour and a
done.
half.
Yeah. Sometimes an hour. It really depends on how decisive the client is, but it also depends on like how you can close, because some people don't know how to close and they just keep like lingering the sale, like waiting for the client to talk themselves out of things. But you have to like close it. You got to stop it at some point, you know?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it's like just overwhelming enthusiasm, like expertise, you know, and like confidence in it. And you're right. Like when you let it linger, when you're asking for opinions and feedback and you keep going back and forth, like you're just giving people like outs, right? It's like,
Yeah. I'm very structured with my ordering appointments. Like there's no question who's in charge when I'm doing them. And I think sometimes that's the problem is it's just like a dance, right? Like someone has to lead, someone has to follow. You need to be the one leading. And if you start to let the client lead, you're going to get off track. Choreography is going to get messed up, right? You're not going to have the same outcome. So I'm very much in the lead when I do my ordering appointments.
so really good sales day. So what was the sales day? You had 3 sessions today.
Yeah. So I had an ordering appointment yesterday and that was paid in full and that was like $5,200. And then my first sale today, this is actually a great story. So I actually, I did a little mini course in the mastermind about this morning, about how to use Square installments to close sales and increase your sales average. Since I started Square installments, it's been like a walk in the park. It's so easy. So she actually emailed me yesterday, my first client today, and was like, so I got laid off from my job this morning at 9:30.
What?
I'm definitely going to have to go with your lowest collection. And I was like, oh gosh. And so luckily, Judy, my retoucher, hadn't actually started retouching that set yet. So I wrote her really quick. I was like, Judy, did you start like this client? And she was like, no, I just did the raw processing. And I was like, great. Can I reduce it by like 30 images? Because I thought she was going to go with my loss leader. So I was like, all right. So I took out 30 images and she ended up getting like 44, which is my $4,000 collection. And then she added some in. So she was at like 4,400 and she had $1,000 in cash. And then I told her about Square installments and she's like, okay. And then she got approved and that was it, paid in full for the whole thing.
By the way, I will say that's one of the like holy grails for even people in the mastermind where it's like, they're almost as excited about almost like a huge sale as they are as getting approved for Square installments. So
it's
walk
huge.
me through that. When did you get approved? Like what was the process?
So I applied, I think the beginning of this year. And the reason I didn't do it before was it wasn't available in Delaware, which is where I live. And it recently became available. And then I was just really busy and I didn't have time. So in the beginning of the year, I ended up applying and they accepted me. You get like your own personal link. And the great thing about Square installments is a client can see if they're pre-approved. So they can go in and see how much they're pre-approved for so they know how much they can spend, which is really fun. Yeah. And
do you have them do this like at the end when they're trying to figure out, or you like pre-approve them before?
So I send them the link so that they could pre-approve themselves if they wanted to, but I tell them to wait for the ordering appointment. And so when we get to the point where I'm trying to close them, I'll be like, hey, you're like closest to this collection. And I'll be like, hey, how much did you want to put down? Like, how much were you planning, today on putting down? And they'll tell me and I'll be like, okay, great. So do you want to see like Square installments are awesome because you can finance over 12 months, but I get paid right away, which means you get your stuff right away. And people love that. And then they just go on and see if they're pre-approved and we just go from there.
Is it 0% for 12 months or is it 0% for 6 months?
No, there's interest. So,
oh, wow. There's no like, you know how like PayPal does like 6 months, no interest?
No. So there is interest on it. But it's not a lot. It's maybe like, I don't know.
Like
actually,
9,
maybe 9 or 10%. And then they have to put down a down payment and the down payment is usually 10%. So if they're financing like 4,000, they might have to put down 400. and they attach a debit card to the account, and then it just takes their first payment as like a down payment. So they're doing potentially a down payment with me too, and then a down payment with Square, but most of the time it's fine.
And what about before Square? Because that's one of the things that like, there's a lot of people that don't have. Sorry, today was actually a work day in office for us.
Oh, okay.
But wait, what was I saying?
What did I do before Square? Is that what
So a lot of people are always, I have clients that have gone, like maybe they charge too little of a down payment. Maybe they don't auto bill and they'll have like tens of thousands of dollars in like accounts receivable that they won't ever collect on, basically. And I think one of the issues with that is basically that the person, one of the biggest factors is they didn't put enough down payment in, right? Because, and that's kind of the same thing with like down payments on a house, right? Like people are way more likely to default on a house if they put 3% down compared to if they put 25 or 20% down. Right. So like what amount, let's just say somebody's watching this and maybe they don't have enough history with Square and they can't do it yet. Like what percent should people be putting down?
So I'm actually very flexible. So if someone doesn't qualify for Square installments, then I'll still do an in-house payment plan. And I'm actually pretty flexible with them. I talked about that this morning on my call for the mastermind. If someone only has $100 put down as a down payment, I will take their $100 because chances are they're probably going to flake or default on an in-house payment plan. And that means that I have $100 more than what I did when I started. I'm 100 less in the red, right, for doing the shoot. So I'll take whatever they have to put down because knowing that the less amount of money they put down, the more likely it is that they're going to default. I do have policies, but if someone says I have $100 or nothing at all, sure, I'll take your $100.
Yeah. So it's not preferred much higher, but
yeah, usually. So my studio policy is a third of the payment needs to be a down payment, a third of the purchase price. But if someone's spending $9,000, I'll still take like $1,000. I'm very flexible with the terms. I try to encourage them and push them to give as much as they can. Because like you said, the more they give as a down payment, the less likely they are to default later.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty good week for being gone, half of it. And
that was only my first sale. I had 2 more sales today. Wow. Yeah. So, and they were both my second sale was over $4,000. It was $4,100. And my last sale of the day was $3,124.
And by the way, is this normally normal? Like you just have like days where you're just selling? You just like
I wish like it was kind of nice. But usually no, because I'm shooting a lot. And so usually I have them in the afternoons after I shoot. So I'll shoot from 10 to 1 and then I have ordering appointments at 2:30 and then I'm done at 4 and Jackson comes home from the bus then. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, for anyone that didn't go or hasn't been to WPPI, I definitely recommend. Come out next time, message us. We even posted the event in the group. We emailed it out. We actually had people that like were kind of like in the shadows in the group and never really interacted, like come out and it was like, hey, like, do we know you? And I remember someone was like, yeah, I saw your email and I flew in from Japan.
I know. That was great.
So I was like, man, this is really cool. Really cool. And I'm pretty sure we took over like half the bar at the bottom. At first I was like, oh, it'll be cool if we fill these 5 seats.
Right. We had like this little booth. It was just like maybe fit like 5 or 6. And I was like, oh, this will be nice. And, small. And then people just kept coming. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah. We just like seats just kept moving. People just kept standing. Then we started taking over more areas. And I was like, I wonder what this eclectic group looks like to everyone else. Like,
I don't know, but it was really cool. It was a great get together. We'll have to do it. We'll have to find another conference. Do you want to go to another conference?
Yeah. Well, me and you are going because we're obsessed with education. So we're going to Wisconsin.
We're going to Wisconsin.
I think we're having I think we're estimated to have about 30 mastermind members in Philadelphia this summer.
Yeah. That's going to be really fun.
For the Reload retreat. And it's going to be awesome because I think you made the point, like when people get together that are like-minded, that have the same goal, and, you know, we're all very different from each other, all different areas and like maybe even different business structures.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool to just get together like that and
Yeah,
feed off each other.
absolutely. That's the best because we're all so isolated most of the time. It's nice to get together with people that have the same mindset and you just kind of feed off of them and build off of them. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I think the other one I might want to go to would be like Show It United.
Where's that at?
I have no idea, but I do know that like most of the people are on Show It, and I really like the Show It platform. So
But what about like photography conferences? Do you want to go to any more of those this year?
I feel like Show It is a photography conference.
Oh.
Oh, you know which one would be cool?
Like Shutterfest or like ClickCon. The ClickCon's in August during our retreat, so we can't go to that.
I feel like it's almost like imagine Dubsado having a conference. Like,
oh yeah,
kind of like that. Like
fun.
that would be fun, right?
Yeah, I
You know,
love that.
you know what event might be really cool?
What's that?
I think it's in Arizona, but Portrait Masters.
Oh, that would be cool. I love Arizona too.
I feel like the crowd that like of Portrait Masters, like the photographers that go there, I think is because of the price point as well. Like they're good.
That's Sue Bryce's stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
They're
really
good.
cool. I'd be pumped about that.
Yeah. I feel like the vendors that they have there are like top of the line. The photographers that go are really awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to go to that one. When's that? Portrait Masters.
I want to say it's in like October. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm going to look it up. I will say, I think it's pretty expensive in the realm of like conferences. It might be, I might be mistaken, but I think like VIP tickets are over $1,000 and then tickets are like maybe around 500. For some reason, when it came out, I thought tickets were over 1,200, but
Yeah,
I know that there's options for that. So that might be cool.
that would be kind of cool. We should look at that one.
Yeah.
That might be fun. We can do a get together there.
Yeah.
Like a meet and greet.
Yeah. This time we won't go to El Capo's. El Capone.
Okay, Capos. It was Capos. It was good. It was good Italian food, but you get to pick next time.
Well, I have a lot of video to edit. Yeah, I have a lot of video to edit. I edited one because you photographed Elizabeth.
Chelsea.
Oh, sorry, Chelsea.
Yes.
Chelsea. What's her last name?
McCormick. Right? What?
How are you messing with me? It's Chelsea Elizabeth. I think that's their brand name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I called her Elizabeth to start. But
it's hard when people have Facebook names that like you get to know them by like their branding or so. Yeah. Did they look okay? Were they all right?
No, they came out really well. Yeah. And by the way, you photographed, you literally, how long has it been since you photographed with a prime lens?
Like 10 years, maybe. Like I don't use prime ever. So
the first time using a mirrorless camera.
Yeah.
First time in 10 years using a prime lens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still have to edit those, but those are going to be pretty cool. And we're going to release those on the YouTube channel.
It's like riding a bike. Just pick it back up again. But the Sony was so cool. I really had a good time shooting it. It was so much lighter compared to my Nikon. It was really nice.
Yeah, I think the thing that because I've been shooting Sony since like the first mirrorless camera, like A6000, is just the EVF, like the viewfinder. When people put their eyes through it and then they hit play and they're literally like, what the hell? How have I been living without this?
It was amazing, like when you changed the settings and it was like a live view of like what your exposure is, like I love that. That was so cool because, of course with Nikon, you don't do that. You have to click a frame and then you kind of judge from seeing it. But I thought it was really cool. I was pumped about it. Yeah.
We're going to have to compare those photos because even with the Sony, you did no speed light.
No, I didn't do a speed light. And yeah. No.
Did you look through the files yet? I know we just got back.
I didn't. I have to import them still. I have to use a card reader for it. And also like the images will be slightly different because I was using 35. So I was kind of like working through angles as I was like working through using a new camera body. But that camera body, like, that was nice.
Yeah, I will say it's funny because some photographers are like, no way I can ever use a zoom. It's too soft, not enough bokeh, like it needs to be 1.4 or nothing. And then some photographers are like, nope. Well, actually, when I say some photographer, like you're the only photographer I know that uses a zoom, to be honest. And
Really?
probably some of the people that learn under you probably do.
Oh, yeah. But the thing is, you get so much more variety and so fast. And especially for boudoir, because I like to focus on the eyes a lot. And like with the zoom, like I don't have to move a lot. I can just change that focal length and get right in there.
Yeah, I think that is like a big point is like photographers might notice the depth of field or they might notice like the super sharpness. But like to the average person, they would probably notice more better angles and more quantity.
Yeah,
Than
absolutely.
having like only an eyelash in focus and like, everything melted away.
And I shoot at 2.8, so it's still pretty wide open. I mean, it's still pretty open, and I still get a really pretty depth of field. And yeah, I mean, but the biggest benefit to using the zoom is you can get those tight shots, which women love to have pretty pictures of their face.
Yeah.
They love that. They will choose tight crops over far crops all day long in my studio anyway.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, all the time. They will choose those tight crops. So much so because I compose in camera. I don't compose after, so I'll crop it.
You don't crop at all after?
No, never.
Are you like that dude from Knows Photo?
Stop.
you know he's obsessed with not cropping.
I know. Well, I don't remember that, but I told you about the fact that like I saw him when I was flying home in 2018, right?
Yeah,
I put him on my Instagram. I was like, it's Bro. I totally was like pumped about it.
That's your nearest airport, right, Philly?
Philly.
I think he's in Philly too.
Oh, really? Well, I saw him in Vegas when I was flying home. Like I saw him at McCarran Airport. I'm not exactly. I don't know. Maybe he is. I don't think I learned that from him.
It's so funny. He's such an OG though. Like.
Oh yeah.
He's been like on like YouTube, like doing those weird sniff tests for like
10 years.
Yeah.
Like he was one of the very first people that I watched that told me to shoot raw. Before that, I was like, what's raw? What's this about? Like, what is it? And so I actually learned like that. I did learn that from him. But composing in camera is just so much better because then like, your focal points are where you want them. You know that like the shot is the way you want it to be. So I'll move around and make sure that it's composed. And so as I'm shooting, I'm also thinking about album flow and do I have enough tight crops versus, wide crops? And you have to think, every set, I want to shoot one tight. I want to shoot one 3/4 length. I want to shoot one full length. I want to shoot one vertical, one horizontal. So you have that variety as you're working through your sets.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty awesome. Well, let me go. It's Friday. Let me go edit all these videos. And
I love that Fro made our video.
It's funny because sometimes I feel like, it's weird. It's almost like I imagine that like once I graduate from a certain piece of content that like it's gone forever.
Yeah.
No, he like still does camera reviews and there's somebody starting photography right now that'll be following him for like the next year.
Someone right now is thinking, Fro, I'm going to go look him up. Fro Knows Photos. That's his YouTube channel, right?
Yeah. I used to watch his little, I think it was called Raw Talk, like religiously. I used to watch his little podcast religiously.
Yeah. I watched him in the beginning too. I started with him and Sal Sincata. Those were like my two people in the very beginning.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I definitely started with him. Maybe SLR Lounge, F Stoppers.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's so cool. Like how diverse the photography world is.
Yeah, absolutely. I learned a lot from Fro back in the day. And he's on my Instagram because I took a picture with him when I saw him in the airport. I was like, oh my God, are you Fro? And I totally fangirled. And he's like, yeah, who are you? It's like, I watched you on YouTube. My husband was like, what are you doing with yourself right now?
Yeah.
So,
well, it's Friday. Let's go hang out with family.
Happy Friday.
Congratulations on a really big week, even though it was a half week.
Yeah, 20,000 in a week. I'll take it, man. That's a good week right there.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon and look forward to seeing all the material from Sony.
Yeah, me too. Me too. All right. Have a great day.
You got to send that to your editor.
Oh, yeah, I will. I'll import it this weekend and then I'll send it out.
All right. Later.
Okay, bye.